Hi guys, Jangro here. This is a first look at the Seaopolis Submerged Modpack. It's a 1.20.1 Forge modpack available on CurseForge. I'll link to it in the description. My first look videos are a quick look at a modpack to help you know enough to get started and to see if you want to play it. Finding good modpacks is hard, and I'm here to help. Seaopolis Submerged is an ocean-based skyblock style modpack, so I guess an ocean block, and it's underwater, unlike other Seaopolis modpacks. It's got a completely customized world filled with different mobs and structures. You start out in a small room under the ocean, as you can see here, which is deadly, of course. Don't go down there. And in fact, if you happen to make it to the surface, that's poison too. So your job is to survive this watery world. Are you up for it? Let's check it out. Before we do, let me take a few seconds to thank our sponsor, Apex Hosting. If you want to play Seaopolis Submerged or any other mod pack with friends, you need a server. And to get up and running quickly, Apex will hook you up with the right server, support, and management interface so you can spend your time playing. Right now, there's a 30% off deal happening to celebrate the Tricky Trials update, but there's always a discount right at the top of the page. To sign up, use my link, jangro.com/apex, to help support the channel. Let's get started on Seaopolis Submerged. Okay, so how do we get started? Like in any skyblock, there's a quest book, and we need to go through these quests here, get rewards. Definitely want to go through all these quests. By the time we get through all of this, we learn about world in general. We need a diving suit, go through the water, which we already discovered, and the air is poisonous too. And in the end, we've got seven sea bucks, and we completed chapter 1. Next thing we're going to do is go through the next quest. So the first thing we need to do is to break this tree. Pay attention to the things in here because this is going to guide us in what we do. So let's break this tree. Don't just break it. Hold down the backtick key, tilde key, which is to the left of the 1 key on your keyboard, because this pack has Ultimine in it. So we can hold that key down and we can break the entire of whatever it is we're breaking. We got some wood. Let's turn it into planks, make a crafting table. Do know that we want to make a crook. In some skyblocks, you can crouch to fertilize trees and crops. Not in this one. Taking another look at the quest book, which I have mapped to my caps lock key, the keybind, which makes it much easier. So I've got the logs. I get some rewards here. Planks. I get to choose another color dirt. We get a duck. I'm not sure what the best duck is. I'll just pick Donald. So we got this fertilizer, mystical fertilizer we can use to grow the tree. The crook can be used to break leaves. Again, if I hold down that key for Ultimine, I can break all the leaves, go through an entire crook at a time breaking leaves, but we get a lot more drops. So like any good skyblock, we're going to be grinding early to get resources. Put this duck down. Yep, it's Donald Duck. That's going to be a little bit annoying to be in close quarters with a duck, but they do lay eggs, I believe. So going through this quest early on, we're going to be using these strainers with catchers and meshes on the strainer, which is going to pull resources out of water that this is submerged in. We can put a water tank on top of a strainer instead of it being submerged in water, and we get a free water tank when we make a strainer. All right, I skipped ahead just a little bit and made the wooden catcher, the wooden mesh, which are all easy to make, and a strainer, also easy to make using the wooden mesh. And having made that, I can grab a water tank, and that needs to get water in it. Can I? Not sure how to fill it with water. Maybe it already has water. So let's put down our first wooden strainer right here. We put a tank on top. Yeah, it has water in it. Okay, so now we have what we're straining. So we put a wooden mesh in here. Next thing it wants us to make is driftwood. We need water, wooden catcher, and oh, there we go. So the catcher goes in the bottom with a mesh on top. And we should start to get stuff like some driftwood. There we go. This is the name of the game right here, is upgrading and automating these strainers. Eventually, we're going to upgrade our mesh to bone mesh, gold mesh, iron mesh, amethyst, diamond, emerald. That's going to get us to the end game. By using this driftwood that we're getting to make things like the wooden bucket, shears, a wooden hopper, all require a bunch of driftwood. So I'm going to let this run, and the rest of this stuff, we just got to use these wooden tools. We got to make a bait box, which is going to then allow us to get fish. Fish is our pathway not only to food, but to bones and bone meal. And it's going to get us into the next step, which is crafting with bones. We're going to get bone mesh, which will give us cobblestone. So we'll have cobblestone generation. And what this is hinting at down here is how to do the initial automation and processing of the fish to get more bones. See, if we click on the redstone clock, here's our hint toward doing our first automation. I'm going to set this up really quick and we'll take a look at how that works. All right, I think I've progressed enough here to show you some of the next steps. So I finished up this section right here, this chapter 1. Made a cutting board, a wooden knife, a bait box, which is getting me a whole bunch of fish. I process this fish on the cutting board, and we get fish bones, which we can turn into bone meal. Most importantly, perhaps, is this sapling grower, which I don't have to use bone meal anymore to grow these trees. This sapling grower, it just grows these saplings. It doesn't get used up. So it's basically infinite bone meal. And I've just put excess leaves and saplings in here. Definitely not the best way to get bone meal. We're going to automate this over here, processing these fish. We're going to expand on this and do better than what this is. This is pretty basic. Next, in the bone crafting, get some bones. We made a bone hammer and a skeleton key, which we get from sticks and bones. And the skeleton key we break with the bone hammer, and we get these key fragments to make these corridor and room keys. We'll just put those on here and break them. I think their only purpose is to just get key fragments. And then we make corridor key, this. So this is pretty neat. This is how we expand our base. Let's go out this direction right here with a corridor key, right click that there, and now a room key. We can go off in this direction. And so we can expand our base this way. All right, now we need bone mesh, which is more bones, which we get from putting bone blocks into our cutting board and using the wooden knife on those. We're going to put the bone mesh in this one right here. We need to have leaves in the bottom. There we go. Oh, leaves will sometimes give us worms. Okay, there's some pebbles. So we use these worms to make bait boxes, which we use in the wooden strainer to get fish. And I have some hoppers going in the left and right side here. This one's to fill bait boxes, and this one's to fill more wooden mesh. So these get used up. This is all full, so it has stopped processing. We'll take care of that in a few seconds. I'll be back after I progress enough to make this clock and dispenser. Okay, I've made the dispenser and the redstone clock, and I have things pretty well set up here. Let me just explain how this works. So I already talked about these hoppers on the left and right that are putting the mesh and bait box in here. This hopper is putting the items out of the wooden strainer onto this cutting board. In here, we have glowing sacks going into this wooden hopper, which is going nowhere. So those are just collecting in there. Of all the things that come out of this wooden strainer with a bait box, the glow ink sac is the one that it cannot process with a knife. So that's why we have that hopper down there. That's just to pull those glow ink sacs off of there. Everything else is going to get cut by these knives in the dispenser on the cutting board as soon as I put the redstone clock on here, where our goal is to get them onto this wooden hopper, which will then put them into this barrel. Once I put the clock on here, we'll see this start to process the stuff. This is a problem because it's just putting the things right here, not over here into the hopper. So to solve this problem, very easy. All we have to do is put a little tiny water conveyor belt right here. Now you want to be careful not to let this water go everywhere and touch you, because it will hurt you just as much as the water in the ocean will. And now all these things are going to get pulled into the wooden hopper. Wooden hoppers are slow, and they're all ending up in here, just like that. And there we go. We've got fully automated fish bones, fish fillets, black dye, and cut tentacles. So there's a first look at automation. We're going to have to do a whole lot of this. A lot of these strainers, a whole lot of automation, auto crafting. From here, we need to make charcoal paper, this drying table, which we process log sheets and turn it into soak paper. This process with drying and soaking paper, we turn into charcoal paper, charcoal filter. From there, that's going to allow us to make this marine fabric, which we can then use to make the diving suit, which will allow us to head down into the ocean to get more resources that we need to continue. From there, we're going to be processing ores, all enabled by upgrading our meshes. So this is why we're going to need a whole bunch of these strainers. From there, we get into storage with storage drawers, automation with some thermal series and Tom Simple storage. Further down, we need to upgrade more mesh to get these advanced ores. If you don't automate, there's just going to be so much grinding. Eventually, we need to get to the nether. This echo stage here gives us, I'll give you a hint, I won't spoil it too much, a bedrock pickaxe, which is enabling you to get into the nether. You are not building nether portals in this pack. Colored caves is another dimension we have to get into. And again, we are not using a portal to get there. The keys are at the end of the stage prior. Follow the guide along as you go, and that should take care of it. This pack has End Remastered in it, which changes all the eyes that you need to open the end portal. And these recipes are massive using this elite crafting table. And all right, I think that's going to do it for this introduction to Seaopolis Submerged. I hope you're as excited about this pack as I am. I love automating. I have links in the description to a blog post. Take a look at further. If you get stuck, join us in the Discord. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I appreciate you.